The year 2014 gave a host to a whole slew of good movies in one year. But, of course, just like with every year for the movie industry, not everything you make works. Sometimes you get those really, really bad ones. Or sometimes you get those ones that are freaking blockbusters and you have no idea why because the movie obviously sucked. But we're here to count down the top 5 worst movies. This is my personal list from the movies that I have seen. If the movie does not show up here and it's really bad, I just didn't see it. And thank God I didn't see it, because if it hasn't shown up on this list, then that means it really, really is bad. With that being said, let's get into it. The top 5 worst movies of 2014. Number 5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When I made my reaction video a while back for the trailer of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was released, which Michael Bay did not direct, although his fingerprints is all over this. He's the producer, so I'm sure he had some say-so in the matter. He has filmed stuff before. Believe it or not, there's actually 2 of his movies on this list. With me saying that, you possibly already know what the second one is, but let's talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be terrible. I will admit, if there's one thing they got right, it's the Turtles' personality. Everything else is just whatever. It is pretty much a standard movie flick. Well, as standard as you can possibly get with a movie that's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For my reaction to the trailer, I was, a little skeptical. I wasn't really optimistic. I was definitely on the edge. I was like, okay, this movie can literally go either way. I can end up really hating it, or I can end up really liking it. And to be honest, it was kind of underwhelming for me. My expectations were so low that I wasn't even going to see this. Yeah, it wasn't literally until it was available for digital download, DVD, stuff like that. I actually said, okay, I'm gonna take a look at it. I'm gonna take a chance to look at it. When I finally sat down and I saw it, I was just like, after I seen it, I was like, wow, that's underwhelming. Once again, Megan Fox is playing herself. There's a lot of her in this movie. I mean, this was Megan Fox movie, okay? This was oh God, how can I forget her name? Yeah, they rescue her all the time throughout this, the Turtles. I swear, they at least rescue her like 3 or 4 times. For 1 second she rescues them, and although with Raphael's help, so whatever. It's the origin story again. It's the origin story again. So no characters like Casey Jones, Bebop and Rocksteady, they don't show up. Krang doesn't show up. Hopefully, if they do decide to do a sequel, we can actually get some more characters in here that are actually in the fucking show. I don't know what the new Ninja Turtles do now, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to change the formula that much, okay? Even when they re-released Dragon Ball Z as Dragon Ball Z Kai, they didn't change the formula that much. Actually, they made it shorter. But going back to the Turtles, this was just pretty bland. It is put on this list as the top 5 worst, although in the Dishonorable Mentions section, there's actually some more. There's actually some movies on that Dishonorable Mentions that I have that's actually in the description box, and I'm going to say them here in this video, which are worse than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and could have easily made this list. But because TMNT turned out to be, it was the summer blockbuster, they was promoting the shit out of it and all this type of stuff, and I was just like, it's not going to be anything. And that's basically what it was. This is just going to fade into memory. Even with the 90s ones, heck, yeah, the first one was pretty good, the second one was stupid, but it was memorable, and the third one everybody hates, but at least you can remember it. It's either really bad, silly, or good, and this one didn't hit none of those marks. There's only one point where I actually laughed, and that was when they was in the elevator. That was the only part. Look up that scene if you can, the elevator scene. That is like the most enjoyment I got out of this. And I think Honest Trailers actually said it actually said it best. If anything, go watch Honest Trailer's thoughts on this movie. They get it so well. They pinpoint it so well. And I didn't see their trailer to after I saw the movie, which I'm glad I did because now you fully understand. Seeing it beforehand, you'd be like, okay, spoilers and whatnot. But yeah, seeing it for myself, no, it's really no impact here at all, and that's why it ended up on the list. Not because it is the worst movie of 2014, but because its standards felt, so low. This felt like, oh, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are up on the screen. That's already going to get us a lot of money, Nickelodeon. So, and it did. It got you a lot of money. Are you freaking happy now? Like Michael Bay said, regardless of whether you hate me or not, you're going to go see my movies anyway because I have your childhood by the balls. All right, moving on to that, we're going on to number 4. Number 4, The Interview. I made a review about this that only got a few views, which is understandable. Everyone at that point have seen The Interview. It was already on the front page of YouTube and blah blah. This movie has a lot of controversy. It had a lot of controversy behind it. It kind of died down now, especially when the movie came out. It's about James Franco and Seth Rogen are kind of like, so Seth Rogen is the producer of this show that James Franco is hosting, and it's a comedy film, and that not that funny to me. The first half an hour I was laughing. I think by the time Seth Rogen went to North Korea and then came back, when he came back, that's when I didn't find it funny anymore. Every joke after that just did not work for me. And does he pee or poops? Does the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, does he pee or poop? Did you really have to state that 3 times, movie? That's not funny. It wasn't funny the first fucking time. Stop. And it's funny. I like Seth Rogen comedies. I don't see a lot of them. I only saw like one, but I think he does well. I think he does well directing. He does comedy real well. I like Seth Rogen. I like James Franco. I said this in the interview review. I said that James Franco can pretty much do anything. Okay, he's much better at drama. Seriously, 127 Hours was like one of the best things he did. And that was just like focused on him. It just goes off slowly off of his performance and throughout that entire movie. And I'm like, if you can make something like this, James, how can you, I know you're friends with Seth Rogen, but good Lord, man. Sometimes you have to tell him no. Sometimes you just have to say no, because he was annoying as fuck in this movie. And I know some people like this movie, just like some people like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't see it. I don't see it. Please explain to me in detail, specifically, what you like about The Interview. I don't find it funny. I don't find it interesting. I don't, and they try. Randall Park, he's playing the, he got a popular show on television now, Fresh Off the Boat. And he's pretty much the same in that as he is in The Interview. It's mostly his family that gives me the laughs off that show, and I've only seen one episode. I seen one episode of that show, and I found it funny for the most part. But this, good Lord, I was just like, North Korea doesn't have to be pissed. This movie sucks. When this movie was supposed to come out, yes, it possibly was supposed to build off of its controversy in order to get a lot of views and ticket sales and whatnot and blah blah blah. Yeah, that's basically all it goes off of, the controversy. Otherwise, it's a shit movie. It's pretty bad. It's long too. It's long and it's boring. It's uninteresting. It's not interesting. The last scene, the big explosion scene, and everyone knows about that scene. I don't want to spoil it, but it's been on the internet even before the movie was fully released. That scene was the one that got North Korea saying, "Oh, what the hell is this?" And, guys, you don't need to worry about it. The movie sucks. Okay, it's not that good. All right, so moving on to the next one, number 3. Dracula Untold. Now, the list is really short this year on movies, mostly because a lot of the movies that I went to go see was basically considered big blockbuster movies. And because of this, there wasn't a lot of bad ones. I didn't see a lot of bad ones. Like, mostly from... If I put this video up before I put my top 10 bests up, I apologize for this because I'm going to ruin my top 10. So I kind of apologize to myself. When I was stating in my best movies list, I mentioned the Lego movie and stuff like that, Captain America, and those are big blockbusters and whatnot. The movies kind of looking forward to, movies that we didn't expect to be good, like the fucking Lego movie. I thought that was just gonna be a product placement, and no, that was really good. This one's the fucking product placement. Freaking Dracula, trying to make money off the Dracula name, and it's so obvious that they. Halfway through the movie, they seem like they didn't know what to do with it. It feels like halfway through the movie, they got a different writer or something like that. Not saying that the beginning was like fantastic to begin with. It was pretty standard. The entire movie was, once again, pretty mediocre. And I guess that's the thing with this top 5 worst list. These were movies that was, promoted a lot, supposed to be big blockbusters and everything, and or whether they got whether they got notoriety off their controversy. With Dracula Untold, it's Dracula. People are gonna go see it. Just like with the Wolfman, we went to go see it. It sucked, but you're gonna go see it. These are the classic monster movies, and. It's always nice to see a new modern spin on this. This isn't it. This story is basically told at the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 with Gary Oldman as Dracula. That is a much superior, over-the-top movie. I mean, my God, Dracula Untold has to be the most bare bones that they could possibly get with Dracula. It's no creativeness whatsoever. It's just... I don't even want to talk about it anymore. This movie was so close to being number 1. If I did not see these other 2 movies, this movie would have been number 1 in an instant. But let's get into the other 2, okay? Because I'm talking all over myself. I'm gonna make this quick. Here's number 2. Number 2, Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. Yeah, why is it not just called Transformers 4? It is the 4th one, although there is no mention of Shia LaBeouf or his family, Megan Fox character, Shia LaBeouf's new girlfriend. None of that. Mark Wahlberg and his daughter and her boyfriend are the main people in this. The boyfriend, who was a complete douchebag, who literally tries to justify having sex with a minor because he's 20 years old and she's fucking 17. And yes, they try to justify that. No, she's still a minor, goddammit. And Mark Wahlberg and his daughter are, 10 years apart? Like, come on. There is no way this girl is 17. She cannot be 17. Past that, Mark Wahlberg, I love this guy. Anything he does, whether it's Boogie Nights, Ted, or almost any action film ever, or it's even comedy with the other guys. I already said Ted, so that's technically comedy. But he manages to always get me invested in the movie, at least in whatever characters he's playing. And here... it's just like he's reading his lines, man. It doesn't feel like a character. Oh, I'm an inventor. Oh, I'm going to say this stuff that I obviously have no idea what I'm talking about just to sound smart because it was written in the script. Mark Wahlberg, he's a smart guy. He's a nice guy. I haven't met him. Just from what I've seen, he seems like a really nice dude. And keep making movies. I want him to keep making movies. I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of the greatest actors in Hollywood. But Mark, good Lord, man, what was this? This was... and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just a poorly directed film. I would say this though, it has possibly some of the coolest Transformers. I mean, at least one is voiced by John Goodman. How cool is that? And I can actually see what's going on in the action scenes. Thank you for finally clearing it up. It took you 3 fucking movies to do so. This is actually better than Transformers 3, which I just despise with a passion. You know, I can say like, oh, Transformers 2 was the worst. No, I hate Transformers 3. And that had Leonard Nimoy in it. You know how big of a Kingdom Hearts fan and I love Star Trek too, but at number 4, okay, even the thing with the dinosaurs, you want to know when the dinosaurs show up? 30 minutes before, literally 30 to 40 minutes before the movie ends, and then they're there for like about 20, 25 minutes, and then they just run off into the wilderness. I'm serious, that is it. Their big promotion was freaking dinosaurs. That's like having a Jurassic Park movie and revealing the T-Rex at the end. Even freaking Jurassic Park 3 said, we're going to introduce the T-Rex earlier than that. Yeah, we're going to kill him off. You know, it's kind of a shot to anybody who grew up with Jurassic Park in their childhood. But at least they knew they had the fucking dinosaur in the beginning of the fucking movie. This one was stupid. This whole point is stupid. First, the government worked with the Transformers. Then, the government don't work with the Transformers. What? And since they're not working with the Transformers, they work with another Transformers to catch the Transformers, even though you know goddamn well the Transformer that you're working with is an asshole and is a bad guy, and the good Transformers are the one you're murdering. What? This doesn't make any sense. Where did this topsy-turvy world come from? Even in the other Transformers movies, this isn't consistent at all. It's once again, check out Honest Trailers. They say it so well there. I cannot go into any more detail than this. A bunch of CGI thrown around everywhere. There's a bunch of fighting and explosions. Once again, fighting in the city this time. Oh, except for this time, we're in Japan. So I guess that's why the movie did so fucking well over there in Japan and Asia. It's like they're getting our leftovers. I feel so sorry for them. I do. I don't know if they're going to continue these movies look like they are. If they do, oh my god. I don't want to see anymore. I don't, but, you know, and I've already made a point that I don't want to review any Transformers movies, but I really, you know, this is technically kind of a review, I guess. Transformers 4 was bad. That was really bad. Oh god. You know, it was to the point where I said, I'm sorry, Dracula, after I saw that movie. And it's 2 hours. It's almost like 3 hours. It's like 3 hours long, man. It's like Interstellar long. Like, okay, no. At least Interstellar was doing something smart. You are just testosterone-filled explosions and... Okay. It's bad. Moving on. Now, before I get to my number 1 pick, here are the dishonorable mentions. Movies that I really did not like, I thought was pretty freaking bad, and I still think they're pretty bad, but they're not bad enough to make this list. So that means out of all the movies that made this list that I said were underwhelming, boring, or just an action fest of explosions and random things going off in the distance, these were the movies that were bad, and they're noticeably bad, but it had to be some measly little piece of enjoyment out of them. And at least somewhere in the movie, at least once or twice, where it's not considered to be on the worst list, but still, you should possibly avoid them. So I'm just going to read off the list to you guys. Starting off is Taken 3. Unless you've seen the other ones, don't see this. This is bad. This will not persuade you to watch the Taken movies. This is worse than the second one, if you want to know. Yeah. It's really bad. I'm not going to go any further than that. 300: Rise of an Empire. Forgettable. I don't even know. I only know one person to see this, and that was my mother. It's like, if there was anybody else who's seen this, they're not talking about it, and the movie people possibly forgot it even came out, which is so sad because Lena Headey is in it, and she's not in it a lot. Okay? How can you have freaking Cersei from Games of Thrones not in the fucking movie for that long? I don't know. I don't know. I love her. I really do. I love that woman. And she is not in this movie a lot. And the main character, Soldal, he's a poor excuse for Gerard Butler's over-the-top Leonidas. It's so bad. His performance isn't really bad. It's just so standard. It does not rise to the occasion that much, but just like 300, there are a couple of scenes that are really good, really well directed, really well shot, and 300 had a lot of those scenes, whereas this one only had about 2. But for those 2, I enjoy them, which is why the movie didn't make the worst list. So it's bad, but it's not that bad. The next one is, keep looking down at the list. The next one is Rio 2. Rio 1, I remember liking. I remember not a lot. I thought it was good though. It was the same way I felt when I first saw the first Madagascar movies. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of like these characters. I kind of like this area that they're in, with Madagascar. It was Madagascar in the first one, and then and with Rio, it's in Rio. I like that. I like that. Rio 2 doesn't take place in Rio. Nope. It's actually as far from Rio. Is there much dialogue? Well, there is, but it's uninteresting. Are there jokes? Yes. They're not funny. Are there songs? Hell yeah. Every fucking corner you turn around, excuse my language, is a goddamn song. Oh my god. If you want Rio to be on Broadway, well, this is it. You should just put it on Broadway. Just leave it out of my fucking movie theater. Because I was like, oh my god, another song. Are we really going to do this? Yes, your songs sound nice. Your South American songs sound nice, and I don't even know if they're actually South American songs or whether they just made up on the spot. It sounds good. Fiesta. Hey, it sounds like a party. Tell a fucking story. And when they do tell the story, it's Meet the Parents. With that being said, you should already know how this movie ends. If you haven't seen Meet the Parents with Ben Stiller, see it. Because you already saw Rio 2 if you did. And the last one is A Million Ways to Die in the West. There was no way this movie was going to make my list, because out of all the movies I mentioned, this is the least. This was so close to actually being on just a moderate level. What puts it low? What puts it a little bit lower than just average is because that there's some jokes that are just gross, man, and don't work. The pacing in this movie is weird. It's like, I know it's made by Seth MacFarlane, but I don't know why he's going with this sort of like comedy sketch thing. It's Seth, it works well in Family Guy, because Family Guy is a cartoon. It can do that. When you do it in live action, it's weird. It's awkward. It's odd. And some of the jokes work, If you do something like that, with Ted and stuff like that. Yeah, he did do it in Ted, once or twice, especially when Ted was trying to get a job at the convenient mart or the corner store, wherever he was working. The shopping center, when he was there, and it would come back from him doing something to his boss, and then they'd do a joke and it was really funny, and then it would go back and then it would tell the story again. This is just like, it's constantly that. It's constantly like cutting it into another joke, and one works, one doesn't work, one doesn't work, one doesn't work. And then it works. And it's like, okay, it takes that entire theme. It keeps going through that rhythm. And it starts to spiral down as the movie goes on, and it gets really corny. Neil Patrick Harris is kind of funny being a douchebag. Seth MacFarlane, of course, he's going to get a laugh, and I really like Seth MacFarlane. I think he's brilliant. But good Lord, man, I wish there was less of that, like random jokes, and then more of the standard mix in with story stuff. Because there's some stuff that's not even mixed in with the story. Like, they could be talking about something, then like, oh, look, they're bringing in a giant cube of ice. Yeah, you saw that in all the trailers, and it's like, okay, that has nothing to do with anything. It's referenced like a second later where they're drinking something, and they're like, did they use the same ice? And I was like, oh, okay, that was a reference to the joke earlier, but is that going to be a running gag? Because that wasn't really that funny to begin with. Like, you could have cut that part out. It's stuff like that. Some stuff could have been cut on. It seems like he wanted to keep a lot of it in, and it doesn't work. It feels like a jumbled mess sometimes. All right, so now the real #1 pick for top 5 worst movies. #1 is Paranormal Activity 5, the Mark ones. Oh my God. Let me just say this. I never cared for the Paranormal Activity movies. As a matter of fact, I thought the first one sucked. It was boring, slow-paced, a little bit atmospheric, and unsatisfied and yet expected ending. Second one, better acting, better setups, lame payoff. Nice connection with the first film though, possibly the best one. The third one, I don't remember. Was it the one with the sister and the little boy and stuff like that? I don't remember. Fourth one, for the life of me, don't remember. I have no idea what the fourth one is. I can't remember. I know there's one with it's following the girl and she has her boyfriend. She's like 16 or something, and they're taking care of the kid from the original Paranormal Activity, who was a baby that was stolen in Paranormal Activity 2, and spoiler alert, and grows up. He's like 5 years old or something. He's like this Damien thing going on. I think that was the third movie. I'm not sure. So with that being said, if that is the third movie, I have no idea what the fourth one was about. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. Fifth one, yeah. Gangsters, Ghosts, and Witches. Need I say more? This was all over the place. But unlike the rest of them, I would say closer to the second one. Well acted. These kids who play these, we're out of high school type kids. We're in between looking for a job or whether we should go to college type thing. They do this well. They do this well. There's actually good acting even from the older generation. And I mean like the grandparents, like the old folks. There's also, the parents do fine, although the father's only in it for like a little bit. It's fine, It works out with the acting, and they really try hard to do so. But then there are some stupid things like let me take the camera here. Okay, so you see how I'm filming this, right? Okay, so they can be doing this. They can be like, let's say they have a point at a TV screen. They'd be like, dude, do you see this? Huh? Dude, do you see this? Do you see this? Who does this with the camera? Huh? Who does this? No. Okay, if I'm going to focus on something, like say you're focusing on me right now, right? I'm going to say, hey man, do you see this? I'm not going to say, hey man, do you see this? What? Like who? Like it's stupid things like that. They're turning the camera and everything. They're putting some of their shots. They're putting some of their like what feels like amateur YouTube. The stuff that you see off of YouTube when you have people taking, let's say I'm going to turn this piece of paper that have the movie list on it into water. Shoop, I do like that, and then the paper turns into water. Or I do like this. I make a quick edit. and the paper's gone. You know, that's easy to do. This, it's like that. It's like that with a bigger budget, but it still feels like I'm just watching, you know, if I want to see something like that, I can just go on and watch a YouTube video. As a matter of fact, they do. Like I said earlier, like I said a second ago, they do take their videos and they do put it up on YouTube. The kid at one point, the one who's like possessed with a demon, he's doing these awesome superhero stuff, and he's like, you know, I can be a superhero. Of course, he doesn't go that far. The movie won't let him. That would be a much different movie if it just turned into like some type of Birdman type thing. Oh, that'd be a much better movie. It'll be weird. It'll be stupid. It wouldn't be consistent, but at least it'll be something fucking memorable. This is just, oh, and that ending. Oh my God, and that ending. I don't know where to go with this, people. This movie had such little impact, even with witches being shot with a shotgun would look like when the kid was doing the superpowers, when he was possessed with the demon and the demon was actually granting him super strength for a while, when he was doing superpowers, he was just taking stuff and just lifting it and throwing up, and he, you know, anti-gravity, he would try to fall off of something, but he couldn't because I guess the demon will keep him up. It's funny. That felt more like a movie than the part when the gangster had a shotgun, who, oddly enough, the guy who plays the gangster is in another movie, which is fine because, like I said, the kids, they're well acted in this. Well, younger adults, teenagers, they're well acted. They act well in here. When he's using the shotgun, he's shooting the witches. It looks completely fake. It looks absolutely wretched. It's... God. Paranormal Activity 5, I couldn't help but laugh at it at that point. I was like, there is no way in hell they're trying to take this. This movie's supposed to be taken seriously. This is the Freddy versus Jason. Remember that, you know, yeah, people don't remember that, that's fine. You know, or you might remember it and you just kind of fade from memory for a while, yeah. This is going to be like the Freddy versus Jason of the Paranormal Activity movies. Even if you do find them memorable, this one is going to fade. This one is... It's the worst movie I've seen the entire year. It was a movie that at one point made me cringe just from its painlessly obvious setups. It's good. God, you can see this from a mile away, these setups they're gonna do. Whereas 2 had some surprising stuff. This was... I gotta end this video here. Alright guys, thanks for watching. That was my top 5 worst movies. I apologize, you know, if this video has gone on too long for you. As well, there will be links in the description box. Possibly should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I'm most likely going to say it in the comment, and most likely people are going to look at the description anyway. Alright, thanks for watching the top 5 worst movies of 2014. And if you haven't seen the top 10 best movies of 2014, yeah, we had a 10 list for 2014 this year. Check it out. I really recommend those movies, especially the top 5 in the best section. Those are must-see movies. You should go out and see them now. We got the Oscars coming on Sunday, so we'll see who wins. We'll see who gets the Oscars. There's still movies I have to watch, such as The Hunger Games Part 1, The Theory of Everything, Foxcatcher with Channing Tatum and Steve Carell. There's still a slew of good movies I still have to see. Like I said, unfortunately, there are some movies I couldn't make the list either because I didn't see them or I have them, but I don't have time to see them, which I apologize for. Thanks for sticking with me until the end of this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Oh, movie's terrible.